الحقيقة احنا هنا من بارك او حديقة بيطلق عليها كاليمجدان، وهيكون معنا مرشد من بلجراد هنتعرف عليه. Your name please.
My name is Željko.
Welcome to our program. First of all, we are here in it's like a park, كاليمجدان. We need to know more about the name كاليمجدان. I think it's Arabic name.
So let's say that it has the connection with Arabic, absolutely, because in Serbia we used to say that many words that are also Arabic originally come from Turkish, because the Turkish Ottoman Empire, let's say, brought those words here. And then of course even this park, which is now beautiful, interesting, and number one, the most famous park in the city center, it comes from two words, kalemegdan originally, and then we say a bit different, kalemegdan. So it's kind of the city square, the city field. It used to be an empty area in front of the fortress in Belgrade, where Turkish Ottoman soldiers were preparing themselves for the wars and for the battles, for taking more territories around. But later, when Serbian people gained their freedom again, then they decided to turn this pretty heavy, cruel part of the history into the park. And now we have a beautiful park, and the most famous park and the most romantic park in the city of Belgrade.
So you continue to the fortress of Kalemegdan.
That's true. So Kalemegdan and the fortress in Belgrade is actually called the Belgrade Fortress. So Kalemegdan Park and Belgrade Fortress, it's a coexistence of two very important attractions in the city, and it's a big area. So we can easily spend a whole day around. So let's do it.
Jaco, where are we now? In front of the door. It's a gate.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of many gates of Belgrade Fortress, and this one particularly comes from the Turkish Ottoman Empire. Okay. So it's called the Zindan Gate or the dungeon.
Zindan Gate.
Yes, Zindan Gate, because it basically means the prison, the jail gate.
The jail.
Because
Zinzana in Arabic.
In Arabic, you see, so it's definitely very similar. And of course, down the way during the old period, there used to be maybe the prison for some enemies of the system. So it's actually very famous and very nice for photography. So when I bring the groups here, they come for a photo. But it's not only Turkish gate here. We have also some Austrian walls around. So when we see the bricks, for example, they mostly date from the Austrian period. So that's the first half of the 18th century. But on the opposite side of the fortress, we can also see kind of 50 meters away. That's actually from the from Turkish period, but also from Serbian and from Roman time. So the fortress
very similar to the idea of our citadel in Cairo, the citadel of Muhammad Ali, the fortress. But maybe here you have more periods than there.
Definitely the first inhabitants here on the top of the hill were Celtic tribes 23 centuries ago. Then the Romans conquered the area. Then the Romans were pushed by the Huns, Attila the Hun. Then the Byzantines repaired everything. Then the Bulgarians, the Serbs, later Hungarians. Then the Turks, Ottomans were coming. Then the Austrians were jumping to conquer. And then, of course, World War I and World War II were also very military active. So definitely more than 10 more or less famous nationalities were controlling the area through the history.
You must work as a tour guide in Egypt.
Yeah, I will gladly come, definitely. Yeah, it's good weather, good people, smiles, and that's it. Enough. And the sea, and history, so thank you.
Let's complete our visit to the fortress.
Yes, we are going now to the upper town, and we'll see a beautiful view, and that's the place where everyone can understand why the history was so long and turbulent, because it's the confluence of the rivers there.
هي قلعة ومنتزه في المنطقة الحضرية لضواحي بلجراد عاصمة صربيا. وأعلنت قلعة مجدان نصب ثقافي ذي أهمية استثنائية وهي محمية من قبل جمهورية صربيا.
Tell me, Jakub, where are we now? And we have a very fantastic view.
So we are in really very amazing and very strategically and geographically good spot. We are standing in the Balkan Peninsula. And we are looking to the central European part of European continent. So Belgrade is the Balkan city and central European city in the same time. And there is the confluence of two big European rivers. The confluence of two big rivers in Europe makes Belgrade unique among all European capitals, because Belgrade is the only among European capital cities which is situated exactly on the confluence of two big rivers. The river names are the Sava River and the Danube River. The Sava is 945 kilometers long river, and the Danube is a 2,858 kilometers long river. Sava connects 4 countries in Europe, the Danube connects 10 countries in Europe, and both rivers meet each other exactly here where the Sava joins to the Danube. So you see the smaller one from the left is the Sava, the bigger one coming from there is the Danube. So this is the confluence of two big rivers, and then the Danube, I like to say symbolically, hugs the Sava forever, promises the love forever, and then it brings the Sava's water to the Black Sea. So from this spot to the Black Sea, there are 1,132 kilometers. So it's an amazing place, of course, got the good view. And the reason why the history was so long and turbulent is such a great position, because in the medieval age, if someone was controlling the fortress here, that one could be controlling big area behind, but those could be observing the area. This is agriculturally important. The river was always there for connection, for protection, but also the river is the source of the life. So the river was feeding the people. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's complete our visit. Here in the background we have the symbol of Belgrade. Tell us a story.
So this is interesting monument. It's a naked male statue, 4.5 meters high, and his name is Victor, or actually he's a symbol of victory of Serbian army against the Bulgarian, Turkish and Austrian army during the Balkan Wars and World War I. The monument is interesting. It's a naked monument, and it was supposed to be put in the city center in 1914, but then the ladies from Belgrade, of course, they didn't want to agree with the naked male statue there, and then there were discussions about where the monument should be, and finally in 1928 the monument was put here, which was far away from public eyes, because in those moments New Belgrade, so the other side, did not exist. New Belgrade was built after World War II, so later when New Belgrade was built, the naked statue Victor monument became the central monument in the city. So it's exactly between the old town and new town there. He has also one falcon in the left hand, one sword in the right hand, so he's presenting peace and war, but also power, pride of Serbian people too.
القلعة تشهد سنوات من التاريخ الصربي، تعد أكثر الحدائق شعبية في بلغراد المرتبطة بقلعة كاليمجدان.
Jakub, we are in front of a turba, and it's a tomb.
Yes, this is exactly one historical tomb which is saved here on the upper town of Belgrade Fortress. So it's one of rare monuments of Turkish Ottoman architecture, Islamic architecture, that remain here. Today it's protected by the law. It comes from the end of the 18th century, from 1784, and it's called the Damat Ali Pasha. So Damat Ali Pasha was one of the important, leaders of the empire, so the great Vezir. He died in Petrovaradin, so not so far from the city of Novi Sad. Later he was buried here in the Mosque of Suleiman, but it was later destroyed. The mosque was destroyed by the Austrian side, and then of course the turbe is still named after him. So a couple of years ago there was the turbe and the tomb that was the reconstruction, and of course we can have another important thing to show to our international guests.
Okay, let's go. Jakub, we have a great military background.
Exactly. So we are here standing in front of the clock tower or Saha Tower, but actually what we have behind us is the collection of the military weapons, guns and tops, cannons, even the boats at the end. So they were all used during World War I and World War II, even some wars in the 19th century. Interesting. The fact is they were all really used in on the battlefields, but also they were captured during the wars in Serbia or in Belgrade. So they are now just exhibitions, so they are not in use anymore. So they are exhibition of one of the best museums in Belgrade. It's a military museum here on the top of the hill. So it's really, some of them are Turkish, some of them Austrian, some of them Serbian, Russian production. So it's really international collection of the military weapons.
Let's complete our visit.
تقع قلعة بلغراد عند نقطة التقاء نهر الدانوب مع نهر سافا على قمة منحدر مرتفع بطول 125.5 متراً في بلغراد، صربيا. تعد هذه القلعة من أكثر المناطق الجذب السياحي، وتعد أيضاً من أهم المناطق الطبيعية في بلغراد.
In the background, we have the Istanbul Gate. Tell us more about this gate and about the name of the gate and why is it called Istanbul Gate?
So, of course, Istanbul Gate is here. It's also well known as a Stamboul Gate because, the Istanbul was the most important city in the Turkish Ottoman Empire, and it used to be the road, from the fortress connecting Dorçol area, the old town, and then toward Istanbul in the old age. It's from the middle of the 18th century, so around the 1750s, and of course it's also the gate, very important, that's even today presented on the flag of Belgrade city. Above the gate there is a flag of Belgrade. Istanbul or Stamboul Gate is there, of course a bit redesigned. But interesting is that the door is opened. That means that everyone is welcome. The city is welcoming everyone who comes as a friend. But also on the flag of Belgrade there are two white lines on the bottom presenting two rivers that we've seen. And also there is a Roman ship. Roman ship presents how Belgrade is very old, more than 2,000 years. And there are two more colors on the flag. Two more colors are presenting something interesting. It's a red color on the bottom. Red color presents a heavy bloody history. Many wars, many battles, 40 destructions, lots of bombings, 115 battles, but there is a blue part of the flag, which is the nicest part. Why? Because it has the best meaning. It's a hope for a better future, and it's a big, like a blue sky above.